guys, welcome back and thank you so much for the support that you showed me in my first video. Keep sharing and telling your friends to tell their friends to subscribe because there is so much juicy content coming your way. As promised, today we are going to talk about the reason why I have been away for the last 2 years, mostly from 2018 March up until now. I still haven't recovered. If you don't know, my blog is officeglam.co.ke. That is where all the fashion happens. Visit and you will not be disappointed. For now, let's talk about dealing with the loss of my dad. It's gonna be an emotional chapter, this one. So if you're like me over here, kindly grab some tissue and some water because we still need to stay hydrated. So guys, my dad passed on in February 2019. But before I delve into the emotional roller coaster that has been, let me start by painting a picture of who my dad was to you guys. Okay, number one, he was military. Yes, military kind of man, macho, discipline master. He was the kind that he would never lay a hand on any of us. Like, he has never in his life, he never laid a hand on us. That was mom's job. The beating, the pinching, the everything. That was mom. But dad would just give you a look or give you one word and you would do an imaginary salute. Like something like, yes, sir, I understand. I will never repeat that. You do an about turn and that chapter is closed. Only the two of you understand it's closed. Never to happen again. Too, he was so humorous, but his sense of humor was kind of weird and wicked because he believed that life is short and it's never that serious. There's this one time in high school, we never used to take snacks in our high school, so a clean is who not to go with snacks. I tried to sneak in some biscuits and some other snacks, then I got caught. So the principal decided to call my dad and inform him so that he can come to school. So my dad picked the call and then the principal was like, hey, Mr. Njaraine, we caught your daughter with snacks, trying to sneak in with snacks, and you know that is against the rules. Hey, my dad. Oh, so Malimu, okay, so you're calling me so that I do what now? I come, we eat the snacks. Anyway, then he was one generous man, generous and hardworking. He's the kind of man you would never go hungry if he's around. It doesn't matter who you are. All the street kids in our hometown knew my dad because he was feeding them. He was helping whoever. I just can't explain his generosity. The kids he has brought up, I just can't. Maybe that's why God was blessing him with his businesses thriving and all that. And all these characteristics, he carried them all until the last day. Yes, in February 2019. He died of duodenal cancer. His problems started around March 2018 and he was treated for stomach problems, gas, amoeba, H. pylori, whatever. Until May 2018, he started puking too much and he was diagnosed with stage 4 duodenal cancer. And the doctors explained that was the reason he was puking too much because his duodenum was totally blocked by the growth and the food was not going through. So every time he ate, he threw up. Every time he ate, he just threw up. That was the reason why. And that discovery was the start of one hell of a depressing ride. The doctors gave him around 6 months to live, but he had so much will in him that he surpassed the 6 months. We were happy, but not happy, because those 6 months came with challenges. The pain he was undergoing, the trips to the hospital, all the medication and stuff like that. Sometimes he refused to take his medication because, what do you do when you have a timeline to live? You just want to go quickly. He became depressed. He lost so much weight such that he was just a shell of his former self. It was the first time I ever saw a resemblance between my face and his. He was always a meunga, but he lost so much weight that his bone structure, like the face bone structure, was prominent, and I could see the resemblance between me and him, and everyone else was saying the same. But that aside, he was totally a different person, and it was so hurting to see some of the people who came to visit him not recognizing him. Like, it's so frustrating, so depressing. I don't know what else I can explain. I could just see it through his face. Let me fast forward to the day he actually passed. I had traveled home because he was in hospital and I needed to see him. The 1 week before, the doctors in Nairobi had told us that he did not have so long to live, and so any cough or whatever trip to the hospital was keeping us on our toes, like, oh my god, maybe this is the last time. Oh my god, maybe he won't make it. Maybe I don't know. It was just a bad experience. I wouldn't wish for anyone such an experience. So that day, I arrived quite late, and I didn't make it to see him it was on a Friday. I didn't make it to see him in the hospital at that time. So I decided I'm gonna see him on Saturday morning, early in the morning, because that is when the doctors, that is the visiting hours for the hospital, right? So that night, after talking to my mom and asking her how he was, I couldn't sleep. I cried. I asked God why he was taking him so much. He was taking him through so much suffering, yet he knew maybe he wasn't going to live. Was he going to live or not? And if not, why so much pain? I thought it takes people through such suffering, and if they survive, they should give a testimony. I just couldn't understand it, and I cried to God and asked him to just end the suffering in whatever way possible, because I just couldn't stand it. I couldn't. To be sincere, that night I cried a river. I cried and cried till morning, asking God to just take the pain away. I never wanted to see my dad in such pain again. And I had lost so so much weight. Imagine a man, a father of 3 kids, having to weigh 30 kgs. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, the following day, early in the morning, me and my mom, we went to the hospital, and we were actually stopped at the gate and directed to the reception and then to another room, written counseling there, and then I just knew he was gone. And my mom said, "Oh my God, he's gone." I didn't know how to react. I sincerely didn't know how to react. I was just there, like, I couldn't cry. I was sad, yes, that he was gone, but I was happy that God had actually answered my prayers. So the next few weeks, 2-3 weeks were okay for me. I didn't feel so much, can I call it pressure? I don't know how to call it. I just felt some relief, if that's okay to say. I mean, I was happy that he was not suffering anymore. I was happy that he was in some other place, free of pain, free of suffering, free of everything, despite leaving us. I mean, if you love someone so much, you wish them the best, right? That was my consolation at that time, and it felt good for me. My problem started, I would say, 4 weeks after that, because you see, when he died, it was exactly 1 month before my traditional marriage ceremony, and he's the one who had set that date after postponing it for a whole year ever since he got sick. And he had finally set a date saying that, okay, this disease is not going away and we need to do this. We need at least something to celebrate. And it hit me that he was not going to be there. And I started wishing that I could take time back and just see him on that day, happy. We didn't change the date because that is what he would have wanted, and I wished to see him, just him giving me, walking me down. Anyway, from there I started seeing him all over, dreaming with him a lot. By seeing him, I mean, like, if I passed anywhere that we had been with him together, all I could see was him, especially our trips to the hospital from home to Nairobi. I would actually visualize that trip with him in the car and just see him there, like, we stopping somewhere for some snacks, and we would occasionally stop and just eat somewhere. He would take us out and eat. Yeah, he was sick and he was not eating himself, but he just watched as we ate, and that all started coming back to me, and I started breaking down bit by bit. I remember this one time I had a meeting at work, and the guy who was presenting was wearing a shirt very similar to one of that, and I broke down. I excused myself and just broke down totally. Anything that resembled him just made me sad. And again, every time I looked in the mirror, I would see him. I told you that when he lost weight and his body faded away, I saw the resemblance between me and him. And now I used to see him every time I looked in the mirror. I would see him looking back at me. And for so long, I never applied makeup on my face. Never. For so long after his death, I did not apply makeup on my face. Because I tried to, and all I could see was him staring back at me instead of me in that mirror. I slowly stopped going out. I stopped making any efforts to meet my friends. I started making excuses instead. I stopped drinking. Yes, my gin and tonic and my love for red wine, it died. I don't know how, but I think it was just an excuse so that I don't go out with my friends. Because if I tell them, I'm not drinking, okay, fine, you just go and have your tea in the house. But I was actually coming to take that wine in the house. Yeah. I'm sorry, friends. I was just going through a rough patch. Anywho, my introvert self became a magnified introvert, like an introvert times 100. I avoided people totally, just minded my own business. Wake up, go to work, leave work, go home, sleep. As in, that was my schedule. No chit-chatting along the way, no nothing. Then it got to a point that even home was not comfortable enough for me, so I would leave work at exactly 5 on the dot. Then I go to the parking lot, get into my car, sit there and cry for hours. Yes, I would just cry for the faintest reasons. I had become this easily irritable person because I couldn't sleep. I was dreaming with my dad. I was seeing him everywhere. And the person who got it the most was Mr. A. I mean, that guy suffered. Poor guy. He was dealing with so much. And he had been married for just 1 year, I guess. Anyhow, he suggested counseling, which I thought was a good idea. So I booked a session. Oh, and by the way, before you ask, I used to check on everyone in my family, like my mom, my brother, my sister, and just make sure they are okay. And then I would assure them that I was 100% okay. Yeah, that was me. Slowly getting into depression, and thank God Mr. A realized it, and I booked a session with a counselor that I never attended. Yep, never attended. What I did was left work as usual, 5 p.m. on the dot. My session was supposed to be at 6, but I didn't go. I just sat there in my car again, and this time I did not cry. I found some online book and started reading. I read it for so long, I lost track of time, and Mr. A was almost having a heart attack, guys, because I was not picking his calls. By the time I was done, I think it was around 10 or 11 p.m. So I went home, and I actually felt better for the first time ever. So I made this reading a habit. Every time I felt so down, I would read a book, whether it's online or a physical book. I started doing that. So I would take 2 hours after work to read, and then I go home, which was okay. for me, because I slowly started getting back to my usual self. I started going out, which meant that I would apply makeup on my face. And then I slowly also stopped dreaming about my dad. Like, just slowly everything started fading away. I started feeling better. I don't know what happened. I don't know the therapy in reading. I was just reading normal stories, nothing inspiring or such, just entertaining myself. And up to now, I have made it a habit that every time I feel stressed a bit, I just take a book and bury my mind in it and just explore that creative bit in reading, not in the writing though, in the reading. I wouldn't say I am in a good space yet, because I still cry once in a while, but I think that is life, because I don't think anyone ever gets over the loss of a loved one. The best we can do is just move on and stay strong, because that is what our loved ones, wherever they are, would want for us. They want us to move on with our lives and become stronger. I mean, I think it gets easier with time. And so if you're currently dealing with such a loss, I would advise you to either get counseling if it's too much for you. But if you can pull yourself out, do something that you love doing and give it your all, as in give it all you can, such that that person that you lost can actually be proud of you from wherever they are. Make them proud, and you will feel good about it yourself too. Just take heart and take every step at a time. Don't push yourself so hard. Yeah, don't. So guys, that's my story. And I know we all deal with loss in different ways, but I wish you, whoever is going through the same thing, all the best. And all I can say is that it gets better with time. It does. I feel better now. Yeah, for real. I'm not lying this time. I am in a much better space now, both mentally, physically, and as you can see, I am doing my makeup, of course. Yeah. So thank you for watching, guys. Keep subscribing, share with your friends, and tell them to subscribe, because I will see you again next week. Mwah.